Hello once again and welcome back to the Chassis Variant series of myself, Critical Rocket, and we're still with the Highlanders. We're on the 733C. Now, as I mentioned in one of the other videos, the 733 series of Highlanders is the downgrade version from the Star League era production models of the Highlander. Now, excuse me. Now, where the 732 series mostly focused on having things like a Gauss rifle, making it a very effective assault mech at keeping enemies at bay. The 733 series suffered through the Succession Wars, where there was a significant drop in the quality and quantity of certain technologies that were available to the Inner Sphere. And one of the major sacrifices came in the form of the Gauss rifle, which meant that the Highlander, to keep it still functional and in rotation within the different militaries that still had some of them, and the production capability, which was very, very low, but they could still build them, was to find a replacement for the Gauss rifle in the right arm. This resulted in a few different variants, and the 733 itself had gone for a few changes. The P variant dropped all ballistics in favour of making it all missile and energy, so it had a PPC in that place. The 733 had an AC-10 instead, while the C variant drops a ton of ammo for the LRM and SRM, allowing it to jump up to a autocannon 20 instead. This means that the Highlander goes from being a long-range defender of installations and cities, and sometimes as a forward command mech, to becoming a very close-range brawler, and I can't say I don't dislike it. AC-20s are one of the most satisfying weapons to use in MechWarrior Online, and let's face it, it's one of the most satisfying weapons to use in Battletech in general. It's just a huge punch that just does a massive amount of damage, and leaves enemies pretty much smoking wreck on the battlefield. There aren't many other weapons that can inspire fear quite as much as the AC-20 back in the day. And then obviously in Battletech these days there's plasma rifles and rotary assault Gauss and stuff like that, or hyper assault Gauss, sorry, the HAG systems. But still, the AC-20 is quite a nice and satisfying weapon to use, and it changes a lot of the complexion of how this Highlander model works. Obviously, if you're going to run it stock, as I do, it means that the mech can get in close, it can get personal, and it can do a lot of damage quickly. This one I modified it, gave it a little bit of extra ammo because I messed around with the internals and the such, as you would do to get armour up to maximum and maybe get a few extra heat sinks and ammunition in there. But combined with the SRM and the two medium lasers, it means that you can go from being a bit more standoffish to being far more aggressive with your Highlander. This model comes with 2 ballistics and 2 energy and 3 missile, which means you've got a bit more of a varied mix-up compared to the P variant, but this still has the downside that the right-hand side of the mech is pretty much your best side. If you lose that, you're losing a significant punch at your medium to short ranges anyway, or in other variants your long range weaponry. So anyone who's against the Highlander, always shoot the right torso. As soon as you blow that off, the pilot's dead in the water, unless he's brought a ton of MRMs or streaks or SRMs in general. I'm not sure if the Highlander would benefit from rocket launchers. I suppose it'd be funny just to be able to walk up to somebody and splat them with a bunch of rocket launcher 20s, because the Highlander's got more than enough weight to spare, but then you're entirely reliant on your right hand side to achieve any of the damage in your match. But still, it'd be amusing. So yeah, I really like it. I love the AC-20 model of the Highlander. It's definitely worth looking at. I mean, these rounds aren't the best indicator of quality of a battle mech. Sometimes I admit my skill in assault mechs is definitely wanting, but it's fun. It does seem, I guess the Highlander by comparison, just in this fight now, this is me versus a Mad Cat that ran up and he wanted to get up close and personal. I'm using the AC-20 just to pick off his torsos, which I do, and I get the kill. But it's interesting, isn't it, that the 75-ton heavy for the clans is far more capable and equipped weapon-wise than the Highlander at 90 tons. And this is a mech that comes with a single LRM-20 and an SRM-6, and in this case an AC-20 and a couple of medium lasers. And there are other assault mechs out there that are better equipped. Stalkers at 85 ton have far more weaponry. So it's one of the drawbacks, I think, of the 90-ton selection of mechs is that they may possibly focus more on their armor than their weaponry, and that makes them slightly less useful compared to the 95-ton and the 100-tonners out there. Because some 100-ton mechs are absolutely brutal. Obviously, things like the Atlas and the King Crab, now the Annihilator from the Hemisphere side, the Clans. I mean, they're a whole other kettle of fish, really, bringing huge amounts of firepower to the field at far less weight. So yeah, it's the Highlanders and Cyclops. Any 90-tonner generally struggles, I think, when it's put up next to its peers to try and stack up, and unfortunately it doesn't always do that. But once again, this round is nearly over. It's another loss for me and my team. I did alright. I think I got a couple of kills. I did decent damage. I think it was a round I wasn't personally too bothered with. I was still getting back into the swing. I think it's the first time I'm piloting a Highlander for a very long time in MechWarrior Online. I do enjoy playing it, but at the same time, I'm very, very, very aware of my shortcomings as an assault pilot. I try to get about mid to short range with assaults. I mean, unless the assault's obviously very standoffish. If it's like a Massacre, for instance, with its quad ER PPCs, you don't want to get right up close. You don't have to. But things like the Highlanders and the Atlas and Maulers and stuff like that, I try to get within about medium range, so I'm there to support the rest of the team, but I'm not necessarily up front unless, you know, really need to. And I guess because I try to stay closer to the front, I get focused more often in assaults, and I don't have the maneuverability to quickly get out of dodge. And I've noticed, obviously, a lot of assault pilots tend to sort of stay back a bit more and they let everyone else go in first, and I guess that's where people sometimes get annoyed with assault mechs that aren't very aggressive. So I guess it's mainly because I haven't played assaults anywhere near as much as I play, say, heavies or lights. Mediums and assaults are the two sides I generally miss out a lot of game time on. So yeah, but that one is over. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you on the next chassis vid. Bye.